Back to this idea of true love.
You really are interested in this
I really
idea
am.
of true love.
Well, I am. I think a lot of our audience are
Okay.
as well. And if somebody does live in a different city, and let's say Los Angeles and Sydney, you're from Los Angeles and I'm from Sydney, and who would have ever thought we'd be sitting here? But here we are. Do you believe that people are just brought together because it's meant to be?
I don't know.
Can you repeat this last question?
It's a bit messy. Hold on 1 second.
Are you asking me kind of a spiritual thing, or
Maybe,
you
yeah.
getting?
I had recently the opportunity to work in Ireland, and the President McAleese, her husband, organized for me to come and bring the Demartini Method to a group of people who had been, quote, victims of the Northern-Southern Ireland conflict. And there was a lovely lady there who had her husband assassinated or killed 15 years earlier. And her therapist had been there, and she had been under this victim mentality for 15 years. You know, you're
Why
innocent.
does someone do that?
Well, that's a model. It's not, you know, it's a stage of awareness. It's not the complete awareness, but it's a stage. And we have to, as the Buddha says, we have to teach them the illusions till they're ready for truth. Just like in elementary school, kids are taught that atoms are little balls. In high school, they're taught they're protons, electrons, and neutrons.
Right.
In college, they're taught they're positive and negative charged particles. In advanced studies, they're probability distributions and mathematical entities. We had to teach them the illusion until they're ready for that truth. And so too in stages of awareness in psychology, we have to go through stages of awareness, and some people aren't really ready to go cut right to the chase and get into the idea that they're involved in their dynamic.
Why aren't they ready? What kind of things hold them back?
Well, they're used to being the victim, and they get
Right.
attention and secondary gains from being the victim.
Well, they're holding on to that guilt.
They're holding on to
blaming themselves.
Yeah. So anyway, this lovely lady who had been in therapy, I had her up in front of the group. There were about 30-something people there that had been involved in this attackings, killings, deaths, and things. And I did the Demartini Method with her, and an hour and 10 minutes is what we spent. And we cleared all this hurt and loss and just cleared it. And then the very person who actually was involved in the killing was there. So this was a reunion of that situation. The person got out of prison. So, and that lady actually went over and hugged that individual and saw the higher order.
Yeah, we get to see that on Oprah all the time. She
Yeah,
used
this is
to
real
do
stuff.
that.
So,
Great stuff.
So there's no reason to have to spend 15 years. It doesn't take that long if you know how to ask the right questions, because the quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask. And what I've done is I've spent the last 37 years of my life studying human behavior on how to ask questions that liberate us from the misperceptions that keep us in bondage and set us free to get on with doing something magnificent, and to be able to look in the mirror and say, thank you, I love you, to us and the people around us. Because
And that's
really
very
what it's
important.
about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. I was 25 years ago, I was in Houston, Texas, and I happened to run into Louise Hay. Now, you know,
She's
probably...
amazing.
She's an amazing lady. She's just a lovely lady. And she was doing a program on loving yourself. And so here we are in this auditorium, and these people are on stage, lined up, going up on the stage, and they have to stand in front of a mirror and they have to say, I love you, in front of the mirror. And I was just...
Actually, I've seen her do that.
I was shocked because nobody could do it. And I'm sitting up there kind of, go on, let's go. I want to get up in front of the mirror because I like to stand up and go, oh, I love you, baby. So I didn't have a problem with it, but I watched all these people struggle with this and cry and all this baggage. And I was wondering about that. So I kind of went out on a quest to kind of analyze what exactly is going on there, what are the emotional baggages that lead to that, and how do I dissolve that? And I spent many years working on how to actually dissolve that. And I'm absolutely certain there's a science on how to do that. And it can be done, and it doesn't take long periods of time. It can be done, and once you know how to ask the right question, you can liberate that, and you can say thank you, not only to yourself but to the people around you, and that allows you to have more adaptability in loving other people and in relationships. I learned a long time ago. I went through the dictionary and I found 4,627 individual human traits in the big Oxford Dictionary. And I circled all of them, and then I looked inside myself where I had every one of those traits. And I realized that I had every one of those traits: kind, cruel, nice, mean, giving, taking, stingy, generous, deceitful, honest, everything. And when I realized that I'm here to own all those traits, not to try to evade those traits. And any trait that I disown and evade will show up around me through other people to make me own it. And so to really empower your life, you've got to be able to own all of it. Because if you can't love all parts of yourself, how can you expect somebody else to?
Absolutely. It all starts with loving yourself.
Yeah. And now, it's a reflection because as the ancients, Schopenhauer says that we become ourselves to the degree that we make everyone and everything else ourselves. So if we can realize that everything we see around us through other people is a reflection of us, and if we're having difficulty loving them because we're infatuated or resentful to them, that means it's representing a part of us that we're having difficulty of balancing and appreciating. So they are brought into our life to help us empower and love that part we've been denying. And it allows us to then thank them for being our teacher. And so that's why I don't think in terms of forgiveness or acceptance. I think of terms of thank you, I love you.
So if you were to tell me the one thing that you've hung out with people like the Dalai Lama, Louise L. Hay, these are all people that are masterminds, which is how I feel about you. But tell me, what's the greatest thing that you've learned about love?
Well, this is probably going to sound a little esoteric, but I really like to define love as a synthesis and synchronicity of all complementary opposites in the universe.
I'm qualifying for Black Widow Spider very shortly.
Now let me ask you, because...
You guys, you date me, you die.
Do you think there's any relation to that?
To what?
Well, what are you
To
doing
that?
to these men?
No. I'm a very good woman, and I love what John Michelet said in the book Nemesis. He's an old 19th century. He said, there is no such thing as an older woman. If a woman is good, if a woman knows how to love,
Yes.
a man reaches the infinite through her.
That's a nice way of looking at it.
That's the way. So I have no problem being old.
Well, you look fabulous.
I understand that, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am because I'm under honor.
You're under strict rules.
Can I say it? No?
We have Dr.
No.
Pat Allen's manager in the room who forbids you to tell your age, and we won't go there. But tell me something, because when we actually interviewed Dr. John Demartini, he
Yes.
had a spouse who's passed away as well.
Yes.
Did you find that first spouse who passed away in your next relationship?
No, they were totally different.
Different?
My boyfriend's spouse, his name was Jim, he was 3 years older than I was, and he was a wonderfully strong, good, virtuous man. Do you see?
Yes.
The other man was very brilliant, very creative, and more like a real I didn't marry the boyfriend. I married the husband, who was a partner. But he was the man that made me the woman that I am. And you want to hear how he did it?
Yes.
Well, you understand I'm smart, and
Yes.
oftentimes the Creator doesn't do what the Creator teaches.
Okay.
We do know that, don't we?
Yes.
Well, he would go to Pat Allen, he would hear her tout about the business of being a woman and being receptive and available and all this stuff. And then I would go home and be the
power
ball
person.
buster. Yeah. Well, that didn't go. He was an alpha, I was an alpha. So he has a very clever training program for me. When I disrespected him, he would leave. He would leave. It was his house. He would leave, and I'd find a request for an essay. You will now write about the principle of respect in this area. And if you don't write it, and if I don't like it, I'm not coming back.
And how did you respond to that?
I did what I was told.
Why?
Because I can't find many men that are up for handling me. You got that?
I would always think that you were so powerful that you wouldn't let a man do that.
No, darling,
That
that's
you liked
my
it.
pathology. That's what I teach women not to use, starting with number one. But he required me to do what I taught.
Now we're going to bring Jeff in to talk about your love and your special story and share some of the magic that happened on your special day.
Oh, I would love to, because I want people to understand, just like the first, second, and third date is fragile, so is a relationship. But if you handle it with ground rules, the fragility will not overcome the power of love.
And that's exactly what we're going to talk to Jeff about. We're going to find out how your relationship is like a flower, and find out how that symbolism played into your wonderful wedding.
Yeah, that was our vows.
Yes. Come through, Jeff.
Just a second.
Hello.
Hi, and thanks for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Very welcome.
You're a very lucky man to be married to a beautiful woman, but I hear that
know.
you're the prince that she's always been looking for.
I guess so. That's what she keeps saying.
Yes, and you have a wonderful story. Now, how was it for you?
Well, I think Bonnie sort of knew right away that she was in love with me. It took me a little while. It took me a little
What's
while.
a little while?
Well, actually,
Was it
honestly,
when you realized that you were living with her when your wardrobe was in your
I
trunk?
didn't know. Well, it took about 1.5 years between what you said before about going to the grave and saying some things to my dad and reconciling his abandoning me, and just spending more time with her and talking more openly. That's when I finally realized. So it took me a little bit longer.
Wow, how has Bonnie changed your life?
Well, let's see. She's opened my eyes to a lot of different things, culturally, and going out and enjoying myself a lot more, having more fun than I did growing up in my family. My family was very strict and stern, and you only had a good time later on after you got all your chores done.
Right.
And Bonnie likes to start with the fun sometimes and worry about the chores later.
And
do
always
them,
have
do them
fun.
tomorrow.
She's a lot of
exactly,
fun.
Exactly. And getting into a relationship complicates your life, though. Dr. Fogarty had mentioned that to me when we went to see him for a while, that you're never, when you're alone, you make your own decisions, and you can just do anything you want, and you don't have to ask anybody's permission or worry about anybody else's feelings. And when you're with someone, all those things come into play. You have to worry about what she thinks, what she would like to do. You can't be selfish.
No, that's true. You shouldn't be selfish anyway. But what a wonderful way to live, because you've got that extra person protecting you.
Oh, yes,
in a way.
definitely, definitely.
Two heads are always better than one.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, share some of the magic of your love with us.
Well, I said in our a toast after we got married at the reception that Bonnie was electric and magic, and that she was the guardian of our relationship.
That's a
which she
beautiful
is.
term. So you came up
Which
with that
is-
term?
I think so. Yeah, well, I did. She kind of stole it
We
from
can give
me.
you credit for that.
And I realized that our love was fragile and our relationship was fragile, like a flower, and we held flowers when we got married, and that flowers need nurturing and watering and taking care of. They just don't grow on their own, or they'll die if they're left alone.
Just like a relationship, if
Exactly.
you leave it. So how do you nourish your relationship?
Well, the things we do, like the Fantasy Fridays, and just having novelty and newness in our relationship and in our lives every day is definitely one of the things that helps it.
Absolutely. And you guys travel to some special places.
Oh yes, definitely.
I hear that you're going somewhere special for your 20th anniversary.
Well, where are we going? To be in France?
Yeah.
We're next year, probably in the spring, we'll go to France. We've been planning it and talking about it for a while.
Nice.
Because I want my proposal.
Okay.
Or maybe you
Instead of
propose-
renewing our vows, we'll renew our proposal.
Maybe you could propose to me now. Can you give me a new proposal now?
That would be awesome.
I would really love if you could give me a new proposal now. I've been waiting 20 years for it.
On camera like this,
Yeah.
Well, at least then we'd have documentation of it.
Uh-oh. She might blackmail me about that. Sure, why not? You're very, very special. I love you very much. You're as electric and magic, if not more so, the longer I've gotten to know you. And I'm very glad that I married you, and I want to ask you to marry me again.
Oh my God. Oh, I love you. Thank you. I'm crying. I can't believe it. I'm
Oh,
so-
and thank you for doing it here in front of
thank you,
me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
sweetie.
You're very welcome.
Oh my God. I never thought it would be this wonderful because I got that last proposal and this is something I always wanted.
And see,
Thank
Jeff,
you.
something's never changed. She had to pull that one out of you, too.
I know. Well,
In front of the camera. I
I
mean,
wasn't prepped
yeah.
about this. I know.
Yeah, I did.
No.
It just came spontaneous. I just said, oh my God, this is better than waiting till next year.
Yes.
Definitely.
Because life is short, as we know from your
Yeah.
father.
It is.
And it's amazing
So-
that we have a week's accommodation for you, because I'm sure you'll appreciate that and celebrate your love. And thank you so much for sharing your love with us here today.
Oh, you're
Well,
welcome.
thank you for giving us that week. That's going to be wonderful because we didn't get to go away. I was working on my book, and I felt bad that I cheated him out of that. And so thank you so much.
Well, now this book is rewarding you, so
Definitely.
you guys are going to have a great time. Just one last question that I have. I know that Jeff has become a therapist just as much as you have now. Jeff, what advice do you have for all our men out there?
Well, I would say don't fight things. Let kind of go with the flow. I agree with Bonnie that I think the woman making the first move is the right thing to do. I think men are shy and a little more reserved and a little more quiet, and they are more vulnerable to rejection. So, but don't fight it. I think let it flow and see where it goes. I mean, you never know where it's going to go, so why fight it? And the same thing even with living together. It took me a while to figure that out, that we were living together. Actually, I didn't figure it out. But living together is great, and getting married and getting into a relationship is great.
Amazing.
There's nothing wrong with it.
You're a true inspiration.
It's
You
a true
really
distancer
are.
that's been converted.
Oh, can I give you both a hug?
Definitely.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was
You're welcome.
amazing. I can't believe you just proposed. I wish I had a cake or something we could celebrate.
Because I just was crying and I didn't know if it was okay
I'm
to
going to get a
cry on.
birthday cake. So.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. It's your birthday. Happy
Yes.
birthday.
Thank you.
Oh,
Happy birthday, then.
Thanks.
oh.
This is a great birthday
that's a
present.
great
He-
birthday
He
gift.
proposed for his birthday. How's that? That's pretty good. You proposed for your birthday.
I love
I wasn't
that.
sure if I was going to cry on camera, but I did.
Dr. Bonnie, will you sign my book for
That's
me,
Fantasy
please?
Fridays,
definitely.
right?
I love that. I was going to make a smart-ass comment when you said Fantasy Fridays. I was going to say, I bet you like that. I bet all the men out there like that. I'm just going to look over this for 1 second. I love the way she just got him to propose like that. How can I'm going to copy you. Bring the
I never
cameras
thought. I
on.
mean, he couldn't say that when we weren't in front of cameras. So I never in a million years thought he would do it. Well, let's give it a try. But I have to wait till you give me that wonderful vacation. But hey, I might as well get it now. But I never in a million years thought he was such a good sport.
It won't be edited till our vacation.
No,
That's
it
right.
will be edited before your vacation. Otherwise, I won't get my vacation.
Oh my God, that was great.
That was amazing.
Was
Thank
it
you,
good?
guys.
Was it good? I mean, I don't know. I was in it, but
No, that's great. That was amazing. Are you guys happy with the way that I wrapped that?
Yeah, it's nice.
was it nice?
It's nice.
Okay, good.
We're still taping, just for you to know.
Well, in that case, I have a quote that I'm just reading here. It says, "Unilateral decisions and black and white thinking won't help you to succeed at anything in life except being alone." Now, there's a lot of people out there who are watching this who are alone. What does this mean, and how can we help them get out of that?
It means, I think, what Jeff was saying, that if you're rigid and you're not willing to complicate your life and you just want to have a boring, not with novelty, not with excitement, you're going to be very safe, but you're going to be very alone.
Right?
You have to think outside the box. and
Take some risks.
Take risks.
Have fun. Lots of fun.
Absolutely. Life is a reasonable risk, which is what Jeff was saying. And you have to be able to smell the flowers, but you have to get out of your routine. I mean, I took him out of his routine.
Right.
That's what he was saying.
Yes, you
But
sure did.
But he
You
loves
took me
it.
out of mine, too. I love it.
But when you get out of your routine, you realize what's out there. You are living very, very rigidly, and there is so much out there. And love expands you. It's so powerful.
It's the only thing that exists.
Right, but love is not about right and wrong.
No.
Love is not about shame and blame. Love is not about true and false, good or bad. Love is about forgiving and not looking at the stupid little things. Like my mother used to say, don't stand on ceremony. And that is what love is not standing on ceremony. Love is letting things go. And like you say, you could be divorced every weekend. It's like pick your battles, as they usually say.
Yeah, and I say if you love a person, treat them well.
Right, and we make up right away. We're only angry maybe 30 seconds, and then he dances me around the room, and then he always says to me, "I'm adorable, aren't I?" And then I can't be mad at him. And what can I say when he says I'm adorable, aren't I? My friend says to her husband, "I'm a jerk, aren't I?" And then when he says that to her, and she hears that, she stops. But when he says, "I'm adorable, aren't I?" You're not really mad at me. Look what I did. I helped you with your book. I helped you look at your book, your manuscript. You can't be mad at me. No, I can't be mad at you because you are adorable. And you know what? It doesn't matter, right? Whatever we just fought about is stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's
Very little ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's so much more fun to get onto the fun stuff, right?
Right.
Like Fantasy Fridays.
Definitely.
that's who we're going
Or,
after.
or Saturdays or Sundays.
There you are, any day of the week. Take your pick.